Free money, free money, free money. Man, we all love free money. And even though Hometown Heroes, even with the expansion, is not really free money, that's how it's going to get promoted. There's going to be tons of social media posts. I already see people texting a bunch of information. And if you're going to talk about this program, you better be aware of what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because like every program, there's good and there's some things you need to be aware of. So in this video, I'm going to cover what you need to know, the changes and what's good about it, what things that you need to be aware of that, kind of are potential issues with this program. And more importantly, how to make money with this program, how to have an incredible summer in 2023, and how to use this program to attract more buyers, because everybody's going to do these social media posts all over the place. And that is not the way, in my opinion, to maximize it, because you're just going to get lost in all the noise of other people that are doing it. So stay tuned to the very end, because I'm going to show you how we're already using this program. It's working incredibly well to generate buyer leads. And I think that is the way, really the opportunity to use this program, especially as we go over some of the things I'm going to tell you to be aware of. Let's go over a quick overview of the program and the changes, and then some of the things to be aware of. And then let's look at what I talked about is how to use the program to get more transactions in 2023. So here's how the program works. So one, this new program goes into effect July 1st of 2023. You must be a Florida resident. You must be a first-time home buyer, not to have purchased a home in the last 3 years. And the amount of assistance is up to 5% of the loan amount, with a minimum, this is new, of $10,000 to a maximum of $35,000. 5% of the loan amount on a $400,000 loan, that's obviously $20,000. So that would be the amount of Hometown Heroes. Now, right off the bat, you can see the amount of people that are going to all of a sudden qualify for this program. That's not a heavy bar or heavy line of entry as far as being a first-time home buyer and living in Florida, and then having access to this expanded through, I believe, Bill SB 102 that DeSantis just announced really about the last 30 days, but it's really just catching fire where people are talking about it. But here's the highlights of the programs that are important. One, loan terms, 0% interest rate, non-amortizing, 30-year deferred second mortgage. So basically it's a second mortgage with no payment and no interest. You do need to pay it back under certain circumstances, which is important for people to know. If you refinance it down the road, like rates were to drop, it's unclear if you could subordinate this mortgage or you'd have to pay it off. Also, if you sell it, then you definitely would have to pay the loan off at that point. Now, there is no interest accruing, so it is a true 0% loan, which is actually amazing. Maximum loan limits look like it'll be the same, which is up to 150% of the median income for your area. For instance, I did Orange and Seminole County. It would be about $120,000 a year in our market here in Central Florida. This is the link here. If you want to take a screenshot, that you can look up any area and figure out what is the median income for any area. It can be used for down payment and closing costs. Minimum credit score of 640. Employment must be full-time, so a minimum 35 hours per week is how they're identifying that. And then must be a Florida-based employer. And I put warning, out of state, work from home employers could be an issue, which is important to realize. Like, what if you are working in Florida, you're working from home remotely, but the company is based out of California? Is that technically a Florida-based company? No. So are some of the things that need to get worked out. Remember, this program hasn't launched officially yet. No one's doing the new version yet. So some of the stuff still has to play out. And also, ultimately, it's how banks and lenders interpret this information, because even though Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac insure these programs, it's the banks that actually fund these loans. Now, so that's an overview of the program. Expanded the limit from $25,000 to $35,000, $10,000 minimum, and then opened up to be eligible to almost any first-time home buyer that meets the qualifications that we just talked about. So that's all good. So that's what I'm going to call the good. So what are some things that you need to be aware of if you're going to talk about the, and I don't actually know what the name is anymore. I know they're not going to be calling it Hometown Heroes. Somebody told me Hometown People. I'm just going to call it the Hometown Down Payment Assistance Program. So what are the other things that you need to be aware of when you're talking about this program? Concern number one, I downloaded this right off the internet. This is the bill, I believe the SB 102. Kind of goes through the ins and outs of all the things that they're doing. But they funded this new program for another $100 million. Why is that important? Is because the initial Hometown Heroes, I believe, was funded for $100 million as well. And the last I could find in January of this year, they were about to $50 million. So if you take $50 million and you divide it by 8 months, that's about let's call it $6 million a month that people are using to access this program. Now they've funded it another $100 million, and they really opened up the floodgates as far as who can qualify. So if we do simple math and we say, okay, 100 million, and what I did is I said if the average loan amount's 350 and you're getting 5%, and probably the average loan amount is more than 350 when you look across Florida, but just to use a number, let's use 17,500. If we have 100 million divided by 17,500, the average amount of Hometown Heroes money a buyer could get, that's 5,714 potential families that could be helped with this new program. I think the biggest concern I have is how fast is this program going to run out of money? And if you're promoting the heck out of this program, like for instance, in Central Florida, there's about 2,500 to 3,000 right now average sales per month. So just in Central Florida, we could go through that in 2 months. Now, again, all those people aren't going to qualify for this program, but now you're talking for the entire state of Florida. I know they did something like this in California. It was more money as far as the amount they were giving. And my understanding is they ran out in like a week or something. That's my biggest and most obvious concern is now, could they put more money in it? Yes, especially if it's popular. But will they? I have no idea. And how, I don't know if that's something that's got to get passed and how fast that can happen. So number one concern is there's about, let's call it 6,000 families or so that can get help through this program, which to me makes it very limited, and it's definitely going to fill up really fast. Two, and this is probably the other general concern, is the last thing we really need is more demand. We get paid on activity if you're in the mortgage or real estate industry, so I will take it. But as far as the imbalance in the market, rates by the time this program comes out on July 1st probably aren't going to be much different than where they're at now. So there's not going to be, in my opinion, a lot of supply coming online different than what's coming on now. But you are going to get more and more people that are going to say, hey, I want to take advantage of this program and enter the market as a buyer when there's still limited supply, again, creating a bigger imbalance. Is that a good or bad thing? I guess if you want a more balanced market, it's a bad thing. If you like the extra activity, then, I guess it's good. The other part is just people getting excited and then deciding that they want to do this, and then the money, again, running out. And then now maybe their contract falls out or appraisal doesn't work or one of those things. And now they go back into the buyer pool. You already know how hard it is sometimes for buyers to get a home. And then that money runs out. And then those buyers actually can't end up buying a home. So there are some concerns. Right now, the biggest one is, even for me, how hard to promote this if it's going to run out of money, if the program is going to run out of funds in 30 days. I don't know that to be true, but I know if it really does end up being about 6,000 families we can help, that is going to run out really, really quickly. So just keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, it is a good program. DeSantis and the state of Florida is trying to take some of the excess and surplus of money that we have and help first-time home buyers. But how do you take this to really get more buyers that want to buy a home, throughout 2023? So what I'm not going to say to do is post it all over social media, because you're probably going to do that anyways. People are going to post this. I'm going to post it. Everyone's going to post it. There's going to be a lot of noise out there. So what do you do if you got a program that's potentially limited in time and really solves the biggest problem? If you were selling medicine and I said, I have the cure for cancer, go call some doctors, I'll pay you $1,000 for every doctor that uses our medicine, you would just get on the phone and call all day. If you had the cure for cancer, every doctor would sign up for that. And this is kind of the same way. You have a cure for a down payment for a lot of buyers that don't have a down payment. So I'm going to say the number one way would be, first, all those old leads that you have, hopefully in some kind of system, I would be mass texting them and telling them, hey, we have a up to $35,000 down payment assistance program that's going to be opening up to Florida residents for a limited time. Would you have an interest? And see what they say. That's going to probably keep you fairly busy there. Then I would be calling buyers. And I know people don't like to call sometimes. We call a lot. If you got buyers that have been on the fence that are qualified and good, I would definitely be calling those buyers and telling them about this program. Now, one thing that I should have put about concerns that I have is you don't want to take your existing buyers and turn them into people that are going to wait to see if they can get this $35,000. Because imagine the extra competition they're going to be facing, which is going to make buying houses even harder. And then on top of that, like we already talked about, the money could run out, and then they could have waited for no reason and actually bought a house when I think it's less competitive. So I don't know that it's a great reason to wait, especially with it being so limited. But again, beware, because I guarantee you're going to get buyers that are going to say, yeah, we're going to wait till after July 1st. So that is also a caveat that you want to be aware of. But I would be calling your really strong buyers and building a list of clients, because at least they've identified themselves as a buyer. There are other programs that are out there to help buyers with down payment and some of these things that maybe they could qualify even if this program runs out of money. So again, I would just know all the facts, review this video again, especially the beginning part that goes over the details of the program. Definitely use it to get more business. Yeah, do some social media posts. Remember, you'll be one of a million. But if you can do those one-on-one calls or one-on-one text or group text or mass text, whatever you call it, to your database, that to me is where the money's at. So if you have any questions on this program or any other first-time homebuyer programs, reach out to me. I want to get this out because I'm getting a lot of questions on it. Have a great day, great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.